If you're ready to take your game to the next level, trust the guys with over 20 PBA Tour titles and RT Tour experience to improve your game. Ball layouts for the best feel and to maximize your game. The top names in bowling: Motive, Brunswick, Hammer, Radical, Storm, Roto Grip, and more in stock. Get tips and lessons from PBA stars Mike Devaney and Ronnie Russell. When you're ready to invest in your bowling game, go to RT Tour Experience with 2 locations, inside Pinheads and Fishers and All-Star Bowl in Indianapolis.
Pinheads Entertainment Center has it all. A modern-style bowling alley with 2 private bowling suites. Alley's Ale House serves up a chef-crafted menu daily, featuring signature handcrafted cocktails and over 30 draft options. The arcade at Pinheads offers 90-plus games, including old-school games, Golden Tee, and virtual reality with top-tier prizes. Host large events or meetings in the multifunction banquet room that can accommodate up to 80 guests. Visit, call, or reserve online today. Off State Road 37 next to Honda of Fishers.
not even on. Trick 1-7, nothing better. Let's hit 9.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Savage Bowling TV's presentation of the Indiana Queens here from Championship Lanes in Anderson, Indiana. Scott Gilmore and Indiana State PBA 50-star Hall of Famer Mark Sullivan in the broadcast booth alongside Chad Lesser, to our production and engineer. And thank you for joining us this afternoon here inside Championship Lanes. We're just underway with the B squad. And after the B squad, we'll have our top 16 in the final match play portion of this event. And sometime later tonight, we're going to crown a Queens champion here. And boy, what a turnout we have here. Record attendance for 2024, 160 entries. That best last year's record total of 136. And Mark, it goes back to The Natural, the movie The Natural, or not The Natural, but Kevin Costner, Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. Jeff Circle and the staff here at the Indiana State USBC takes over the Queens several years ago, makes some changes, and look what we have now. We have record attendance every year, and we best ourselves again here in 2024.
Yeah, you know, and I know Jeff, so I don't think it's all Jeff. Could it be? I mean, you think?
Yeah.
No,
we probably
that's
should give him to him. We can't give him too much credit.
We only give him
he
to
does
it,
a lot. He's a fantastic job.
It's unbelievable. I tell everybody the State Masters is the best ran tournament. It's on the same level with the PBA events that I bowl. Everything is on time, best as it can be. Obviously, there's some things you can't control, but it's always a fair playing field. And just, I mean, the stats speak for themselves. Record entries this year, it's pretty incredible. And I, you know, how many years in a row have they filled the State Masters event for the guys? It's remarkable.
Sold out. Yeah, sold out field every year. And we're talking 4 squads.
Yeah.
It's sold out. Over 400 entries. You know, he had told me for the State Masters that he had like 60 new bowlers.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
That's unreal. I mean, back in the day, you would have been happy to get 60 bowlers in that tournament.
Yeah.
And now he's getting 60 new bowlers. So
well, you would love to know how many new bowlers we have here for the Queens, but I see quite a few I've never seen before, and it's great to see this number of women turn out, and it just kind of shows you that they're starving for some things to bowl, especially the really talented ladies in this state. They'd like to showcase their talents to those who want to watch, and this proves the fact that maybe there's some more things out there that we could do to give the ladies a chance to bowl more.
Well, I think it speaks to how healthy bowling is in general, too. People, I can tell you at our center there at Highway Lanes in Franklin, it's a waiting list every Saturday afternoon, Scott, with recreational bowlers and some serious bowlers as well. The league base is full every single night. The pro shop's very, very busy. So, you know, bowling is in a great spot right now. Very healthy.
You're right. Let's talk our sponsors here before we get too far into the B squad. I want to thank our sponsors of the Indiana State USBC events, the Brands of Brunswick. For the latest releases and product information, like them on Facebook at Brunswick Bowling or go to brunswickbowling.com. Big Four Socks. Find your pair at a pro shop near you or at big4socks.com. And Mike Alby's Arrowhead Bowl. Bowling, games, billiards, birthday parties, corporate events, and more. What are you waiting for? Arrowheadbowl.com. Got to get those sponsors in because they're so important to the lifeblood of these events. You know, they keep these things churning, as you know, with the PBA 50 Tour. You always want to thank those that are willing to support your product, right?
Yeah, it'd be hard to have a tour without all the sponsors, or a tournament like this to this size without having some sponsorship. So yeah, we greatly appreciate everything they do to support us.
All right, we're just underway here, B squad. Let's go over quickly the results after the A squad. Leading the way with a fantastic 929 plus 129 was Lisa Seyfarth. She struggled game 4, but still it was enough to lead the squad by 28 pins. Jenny Ferguson, the State Hall of Famer and past champion, shoots 266, 246 her last 2 games to get to plus 101. Brittany Kinney shoots 217 her last game to get to plus 83. Tandis O'Neill started out with 157, Mark, and finishes at plus 62 with games of 216, 276, 213, games 2 through 4. Faith Hall, plus 61. Annalise Sisk, plus 50. Jacqueline Rhoda, plus 47. And Michelle Irwin, plus 39. That's your top 8. 16th was minus 5. And Brittany Cooper, obviously we don't think that's going to last. But, you know, you and I were talking before the squad started that we thought Jacqueline Rhoda's plus 47 was probably going to be somewhere on that number in order to get in to the top 16 match play portion. Notable scores, Shelby New, plus 5 and 13th. Ashley Jackson gets back into the top 16 at minus 4. The defending champion here went 212, 233 her last 2 games. But we feel like that number is probably going to be, Michelle Irwin could be borderline, right? She's plus 39, but we think somewhere in the 40s it's going to take to get into this. So, and this includes a pretty good list of players that are on the outside looking in. Alexis Carter, past champion, and was minus 5. Aaron Jones, past champion, at minus 31. And we also have Michelle Russell, minus 23. She really struggled her last game, but maybe this squad she re-entered, maybe she'll have a chance to sneak her way in that top 16. Natalie Tackett, the new mom, EJ's wife, she is minus 59. She hasn't bowled a whole lot, so it's great to see her out here participating in the event today. But the number we're going to look at is somewhere in the plus 40s. That's our guess right now, and we'll know a lot more when scoring gets handed to us. Ladies are in about the halfway point of game number 1. But thank you for joining us here on Savage Bowling TV. If you join us in the chat, feel free to reach out to us and ask any questions you would like. Mark's got a lot of answers. I always tell everyone Mike Albee has all the answers, but Mike's not here. He's in Las Vegas this weekend bowling the USBC National event. He always bowls usually that first opening weekend or whatever, but he didn't this year. He was out there watching Glenn Allison participate in his record-setting 72nd appearance, which to me is just absolutely unimaginable.
Yeah, it really is.
A number will never be broken. Now, he's going to try to break his own record. That is Glenn. He is going to try to participate in his 73rd. He's no young man in his young 90s. So,
yeah.
But, hey, what a legend in the sport. The first man to shoot 900. And so it's great to see him still participating in the USBC National event at that age. But Mike's out there going to give his shot, and next weekend, we're going to be in Kokomo for the All-State High School event, and Mike won't be there either because he's going to be participating in the Legends portion of the PBA All-Star break. Nice.
That'll be fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I told him, I said, boy, you better start practicing. He's like, yeah, right, you know.
Well, with that much talent, he probably won't require a whole lot of practice and still
It's kind of like riding a bike, isn't it?
My guess it would be,
You don't ever unlearn it. You just have to get the timing right.
That's pretty much it. You're right. Just kind of get those steps sequenced again and kind of let it go. Mike was such a natural talent anyway.
A lot of good bowlers in this state, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's I tell you what, it's a treat to look up and down and see all of the youth out here today. We were talking about that a little bit off camera as well, Scott, but not only the youth, but the amount of talent. I mean, man, some of these gals throw the ball so good.
A lot of young ladies here participating, and obviously it's just great to see the large turnout and the response. And obviously it doesn't hurt that it's a major. It's kind of a major in this state.
Oh, 100%.
The Queens, the Masters, those are the majors.
Yep. Yeah, this is it. This is their premier event of the year for the state of Indiana. So it brings out all the top talent for sure.
Our TV pairs this afternoon, lanes 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10, and 13 through 16. Chad will do his best to switch lanes around. We'll do that about every 3 or 4 frames or so. We'll try to get all the pairs to you as much as we can here. But again, thank you for watching, and love to have people respond in our chat. Charles Rott, I appreciate the compliment. Yes, I got the phone call today from Brian Nunning and those on the Hall of Fame staff for the state of Indiana, and I was elected into the State Hall of Fame today, so a great honor for me. You know, you never think you're ever going to be able to get into something that's so prestigious as that, and, you know, to be alongside you, Mark, and names like Tim Mack and Mike Albee and others. It's just really a great honor, and look forward to the ceremony in June on the 29th, and we'll be there broadcasting. We're going to record the whole ceremony, and we'll rebroadcast that on our YouTube channel. So a great honor, and I really look forward to I guess I'm going to have to write a speech or something like that, right?
Yeah, you're going to have to prepare a little something there. I'll tell you, it was a big deal when I got in as well, and I felt the same way when I got in the city. I thought, when you're young and you're bowling and you're competing, those type of things are so far down the road that you really don't even look at them. And then when you get the call like that, it really takes you back a little bit. You're like, wow. Then what that means is there's a little bit of history here of some accomplishments. Not just a one good week, not just one good year. It's a collection of great outings, and yeah, it was pretty humbling to get it, and I was, I'm very happy to be a part of that big group. Yeah. Well, so welcome.
Yeah, appreciate that. And you know, it's never easy to win. I don't care what you're participating in, at what level that is. It's never easy to win. So many things have to go your way, and really the Hall of Fame is kind of a culmination of your entire body of work.
Yep.
And to be recognized by your peers, because you guys as Hall of Famers, you know, nominate or elect and vote for those that you feel are worthy enough to get in, and it's truly a great honor to be in that group. And you know, bowling's been great to me. You know, I met my wife bowling from college at Purdue, and most of my great friends are bowlers, and we were talking too off camera. It's just, you look at your friends list or whatever, and 80 or 90% are bowlers, and you come into a bowling center and you're greeted by others, and you know, it's really a great community from that standpoint, and it's truly, bowling has been great for me, and I love promoting it. I love doing this, you know, and sitting here with you in the booth and watching people bowl and just commenting on it. It's a great thrill for me. And I've done a little bit of everything. I've bowled in tournaments, I've ran a tournament, and now I'm able to live stream it with, you know, talented guys like yourself, Mark, and Mike Albee, and it's just a real thrill for us to be here and watch these talented ladies bowl. And one of these days, we're going to see some young women right here that are probably going to be Hall of Famers at some point.
Yeah, and some that already are, like Teresa Smith right here in front of us, and we got to see Linda Burns in the prior squad. But you're right, Scott. It is such an honor to get to that achievement, and it really does. It you know, when you were a kid, you started out in a junior program, and you know, think about all the people. You talk about all your friends. Think about all the people that impacted you along the way to help, you know, all the great teams from Lafayette, you know, Hurt and
Terry Clayton, Steve Hartman, Gary
Ness, all those great bowlers that you were fortunate enough to be able to watch growing up, model yourself after those guys. They were not only great bowlers, they were great role models, and that's what I always say about me. I'm the luckiest guy in the world because I got to be around all of these Hall of Fame type people. Forget about bowling. They were Hall of Fame type human beings. And so they showed me, you know, it's great to be a great bowler, but like, you know, and the guy that's usually sitting in his chair, Mike Albee, he's the epitome of that. You know, that guy he was always the guy that was how do you know, very few guys can be at that level of any competitive sport and be as nice of a human being as he is.
Yeah, yeah, very approachable.
Very approachable. So you and I obviously benefited from being able to be around guys like that, and not to mention all the stuff you picked up in terms of making you a great bowler that you are, which is why you're now going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, and I remember as a kid, you know, you mentioned Dave Hurt and Terry Clayton, those guys, and I remember as a kid, my dad would take me to the Scratch League that would be on Monday night at Star Lanes, where I used to host the Ebonite Lafayette Open for 20 plus years. That's no longer around, and but you go. I wanted to watch those guys, and just watching them bowl and think, man, could I be as good as they are one day?
Yep.
And you know, to be there alongside those guys, because all those guys are state Hall of Famers. It's just really a true honor, and yeah. So I look forward to being there at the ceremony and welcoming those that, like Ron Everham Sr. and some of the other guys. Paul Lamond is going to be in that class.
Paul just got in.
Yeah, Bill Kendall, the president of the USBC here in the state. You know, he's getting elected into as well. So it's going to be a great group of guys that get in, and I'm curious to learn about some of the guys that I don't know that well that have been elected, just to hear their story of what they've done and how long they participated in the sport. So it's going to be a good evening, and I look forward to it. But
yeah, well, congratulations.
All right, game number one just about finished here across the low end of the house. I see a 230, 210, 240. So you see some high games, and you see a few that struggle. As we talked about, too, though, oh, my goodness, Jennifer there with a pocket 810.
Wow, that was that her fill ball?
That was her second ball in the 10th.
Oh.
She had a chance to shoot 225.
Oh, I see her score now. Yeah.
We got these bright lights in front of us. Sometimes it's kind of hard to.
Yeah, I had to. She missed a 10-pin in there earlier, but otherwise she bowled a fantastic game. I think there might have been a 2-pin in the 9th frame, and then she got the first one in the 10th before she pocket 8-10 there.
And you're going to watch her shoot this 8-10 split. Unfortunately, she's going to get none. 213 her total.
It's a good start.
Hey, I'll take 213 to start anytime.
Absolutely on this. Yeah, absolutely. And she hit the pocket a lot, so that's got to be a good sign for her.
She has bowled well in this event every year and has come very close to bowling in that championship match.
Yeah, she's quality player, no doubt about it.
Good shot there from Kaylee Bragg just off the left side of your screen. She's got 174 in the 8th with a strike in the 9th, 230 out there. And Teresa Smith-Dill comes in light with a washout. Right now you're watching lanes 9 and 10, but you're going to see 7 and 8 and 11 and 12. Ashley Jackson here on your right side of your screen. She is kind of struggling here. 3 opens in her game, trying to strike out for 174. Oh, my goodness, she just shreds the rack.
Yeah, this would be,
It's going to put her in the 170s. But when you have a game like Ashley, you have a chance to shoot some big numbers. But she's put pressure on herself now, Mark.
Yeah.
With that 170 start, she's going to have to come back with a 230 game at some point.
Looks like a couple of missed spares there, and then a 6-count split. So,
yeah, the makeable spares that are opens really loom large.
yeah.
And you know, as a competitor, you just look back. You miss a single pin, you go, that's going to probably cost me.
Yeah,
you just know it somewhere.
The competition's too tough to be giving anything back. It's just all there is to it. This is an elite field, so you can't have those unforced errors and get there usually.
And Ashley comes in high there, 4-6-7 split. Had an opportunity to get to 230, but with 2 pins, she's going to be in the 2-0s.
Yeah, she could have got out of that game with a nice 230. That's going to drag her down to 2-0. Got a nice clean game on the bottom here.
Actually, 2 outs.
2 is okay.
2-0-2. Not a bad score, but you know you're a little disappointed because you're expecting more out of that.
Yeah.
All right, ladies will be moving pairs here. Definitely can get to the head pin. You don't want it hooking too early, but you don't have a ton of room out there, but you have a little.
Yeah, they look. I mean, I didn't get here until the end of the 4th game, but the pattern looks like they're playing pretty similar to they did the first squad, from what I see. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'm watching ball reaction here, and it's very similar to the first game. You definitely have, I'm not saying it's an easy path to the pocket, but it is there.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Definitely not a gimme, but certainly gettable.
Then it's at that point is just getting a ball that goes through the pins the right way once you do get lined up. Again, we want to thank you for watching, everybody in the chat room. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate the congratulations. And again, we'll be here all day here for the Indiana Queens here on Savage Bowling TV. Also want to thank our sponsors, A1 Automotive. Keep your vehicle running like new. A1CarDoctors.com. RT Tour Experience. It's time for you to invest in your game. Locations in Pinheads, All-Star Bowl, and Muncie Lanes. Pinheads Entertainment Center. They have it all. Bowling, games, birthday parties, corporate events, and private suites. Go to bowlatpinheads.com. And Tim Mack's Victory Lane Pro Shops. Don't settle for anything less than victory. Locations inside Royal Penn Woodland, Western, and Expo in Indianapolis.
Okay, you get there?
Yep. Okay. Suck it in, Gil.
How you doing, Sullivan?
right, welcome back here to Savage Bowling TV's presentation of the Indiana Queens. Scott Gilmore, Mark Sullivan, and Chad Lester here with you this afternoon as we broadcast you all of the action here from Championship Lanes in Anderson, Indiana, and want to thank Dave Small and Angie Collop for allowing the event to be here. They do a tremendous job of hosting events, and they host a lot of tournaments. Matter of fact, we've been here 3 times in the last 6 weeks broadcasting not only the Queens, but the State Masters and the Indiana High School Bowling State Finals. I'll get that out of there. I got some tongue twisters going on. Also want to let you know about other events beyond the Indiana Queens. If you'd like to bowl, the Indiana State USBC hosts numerous events throughout the state. You can get all of your you can get all your entry forms and all the information on locations and dates on indianastateusbc.org. You have the Open Championships going on right now at Mike Alby's Arrowhead Bowl in Lafayette. Those are until May 5th. You have the Women's Open Championships that are in Muncie at Muncie Lanes in April. Youth Championships are at Pearl Bowl West and Thunder Bowl in Fort Wayne from March 1st through April 21st. The Youth Master and Queens are in April 27th and 28th in Indianapolis. The Senior Championships are in Evansville this year from April 5th through May 5th. So if you'd like to find out more about how you can participate in an Indiana State USBC event, go to indianastateusbc.org. And also don't forget, June 29th, the weekend of the Indiana Hall of Fame ceremony, you can participate in the ISUSBC Scholarship Golf Scramble. That'll be held in Indianapolis, June 29th at Saddlebrook Golf Course. They'll have information on how you can participate in that as well. Just go to indianastateusbc.org. Again, we are on the air next week, March 9th, Kokomo, the location, Heritage Bowl or Heritage Lanes. We'll be at the Indiana All-State Tournament, basically one of the marquee high school events of the season. We'll have both boys and girls there. We look forward to broadcasting that for you right here on Savage Bowling TV. But before we get to that, we got to find out who is going to be crowned the champion of the Indiana Queens, and we're in B squad right now. Game number 1 just wrapped up. The ladies have moved to their second pair, and the second game has just began. And Mark, that's one thing that's really cool about this event too, that Jeff and his staff do a great job at, and that is really moving throughout the entire center. When you bowl a Jeff Circle event, you're going to bowl from one end of the house to the next, and that really, to me, helps kind of even things out from that standpoint.
100%. And probably of all the places that I get a chance to bowl, this particular bowling center, I think, might be the one with the most variances from pair to pair that I'm accustomed to bowling on. And I don't even know why, but it just oftentimes, and particularly when they're hard, I think the topography shows up, is magnified in here. I always talk about, I said, you're not just changing pairs and this pair hooks more. You might have the right lane on the next pair that you go to hook 5 more, the left lane hook 5 less. So it's really lane to lane. It's really important to really make good shots and then read your ball reaction.
Well, and it really challenges the player. You don't get comfortable like you would in a league setting bowling on the same pair. You're going to go to a pair that you have no experience on whatsoever, and that first shot counts. And it really, you have to get lined up quick when you're moving as much as you do in this event. Yeah, you do. You have to be committed to what you're going to do, and then, like I say, try to execute and read your ball reaction. And if it's telling you that pair's hooking more, you better be ready to make that move. A little warmer today than we've seen, right? That can make a little bit of an impact. You get a lot of people in here, great crowd watching. Yeah. And just another variable, huh? Yeah. You wouldn't think that. Yeah, but it is. It's a factor. But humidity and all that does play a major factor in how the lanes transition. Yeah. The one thing that I noticed right away,
And it could be the pattern, but no urethane going down for the ladies to speak of, right? That's different.
Yeah, and you got to factor into the, is it rev rate kind of dictates that. Urethane is not the easiest thing to throw, in my opinion. You really have it's an acquired skill.
100% it is. Yep, absolutely.
We've gone from a day and age in bowling to where now your hook is down lane.
Mm-hmm.
You send it to a spot and you're hoping the ball hooks. Urethane, really you're playing the fronts.
Yep.
As you are anything, and visually it takes a lot to get used to. You throw a urethane ball, you're waiting for it to snap and come back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, urethane's not going to do that.
No.
And it's an acquired skill, more almost visually, but you do have to throw it a little bit different. You got to stay behind the ball a lot more to get the urethane to read right. But now they're just making companies like Brunswick with the purple hammers and now the black hammers. They make the urethane so good anymore.
They do. I mean, it is 100%. It was there for a while. It really wasn't even an option on the PBA 50 tour. You hardly ever, you just didn't see it very often. Well, it's a factor on our tour now. I can tell you that. And you'd better have one in your bag, because when they are the play, they are the play. It keeps you out of trouble, and it really it helps you manage the pocket. And that's what we're trying to do, particularly on the fresh. You're trying to hit the pocket and get out of those splits, those big holes.
You hear a lot of guys anymore only plan on throwing it for maybe a half a game, maybe the first game of a 6-game block.
Yep.
As the lanes transition, a lot of those guys move left or right off of that, and then they start hooking the lane with reactive resin. So it's really interesting now. You used to hear a lot of people griping about the urethane, but guys have learned that, you know what? It builds some hold.
Exactly right.
And if it burns up a track spot in the front, you just hook to that spot. And it actually, EJ Tackett has been great at not ever throwing urethane, and he just plays to that spot. And you'll watch guys whacking him with urethane, and EJ's whacking him with a Venom Shock or something like that, right?
Yeah, he has figured out a way, like every great player does. He's figured out a way to take advantage of the situation, and we see it on our tour too. A lot of times when guys are using it, we're all like, "Oh, that's awesome," because he's going to create some hold for us that wasn't there. And yeah, you have to be aware of it, learn how to use it, learn how to take advantage of it when other guys are using it.
All right, our broadcast booth right behind lanes 7, 8, 9, and 10, the championship pair 9 and 10 this weekend. And it was kind of interesting when we were here for the Indiana State Bowling or high school state finals. Our championship lanes were 37, 38, 39, and 4, or 35, 36, 37, 38. So we were on a different part of the house than we're accustomed to. So it's kind of interesting to vantage points and how lanes actually play. Sometimes you get down in this part of the house, they can get kind of tricky. 9 and 10 has been kind of a pair that can be tricky, but in our state masters finals, it was fantastic, and I expect the scoring to be the same on the championship pair today as well. Jeff will kind of keep it out of play to keep it more fresh, so we'll see how it is when we get to the end of the day. But last year, our finals for this tournament was absolutely fantastic. Teresa Smith took Ashley Jackson to 2 games, and it was just an incredible finals match. And I don't expect anything different. The ladies never disappoint here. And you see all kinds of styles too, right, Mark? I mean,
oh, yeah.
And that's one thing that's great about bowling. There's no right or wrong way. You just have to repeat it.
Nope.
And
no size advantage. I mean, the greatest one-handed bowler in the world right now is one of the smallest guys on the PBA tour, and conversely, Tom Doherty's a big guy, and he gets it done. Walter was not a small guy. Barnes is a big guy, and no, you're right. And one of the things we're talking about with the ladies, I always felt like on sport patterns, I almost felt like some of the ladies on our Monday night scratch league I almost felt like they had an advantage. They didn't try to overpower the ball. They didn't overthrow it. They didn't overhit it. And their ball tended to blend better. It tended to read the patterns a little bit truer. And so I think that's one of the reasons why you don't see a lot of the ladies use urethane, is because their touch is just a little bit, tends to be a little bit better, probably. I don't know. It's kind of the same thing with when you see the lady golfers. Their swings are just a lot smoother than the guys, not nearly as much violence, and it tends to make for probably a purer strike on the ball.
Yeah, you're right. Where guys tend to be a little more grabby with the ball
Yep.
at the bottom. Ladies are a little more smooth, a little more finesse.
Yeah. Yep.
That's one thing I always felt like Francois Lavoie comes to mind in the PBA, where a guy just puts a really good touch. It's very, very effortless, and a lot of the ladies are that same way. And then you watch a lady like Ashley Jackson throw the ball, where she kind of grabby, but she hits the ball a lot.
She does.
Most definitely the highest rev rate probably here in this building.
Oh, 100%. That I've seen for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you say, if you didn't know any better, that's a really high rev rate. Linda, you know, talking about ball rolls, Linda Burns is not a high rev player at all, but her ball is rolling right off her hand, and here she is with the first 5 this game. 2 players actually with the first 5 on that pair.
Yeah, we got 2 front 5 here.
So we're going to go see Cindy Franklin, Indianapolis, great bowler for a long time. Cindy just went into the Indianapolis Hall of Fame 2 years ago. Well-deserved, young player who has a ton of accomplishments already.
She's going to step up on lane 6. Getting a good view of this front 5. Hopefully we don't jinx her. Left-hander, like it already. Trip it. Oh, there's the old announcer's jinx.
I think she's okay with 9 there by her body language. That told me she got that one up the lane a little bit more.
One thing about this pattern too, it doesn't favor anything. Left, right, straight player, cranker, you name it. You'll see all kinds of styles and a lot of different players with a lot of success. So,
doesn't that say something too, Scott, about, don't you think that says a lot about the pattern that's out there? How fair it is, that you see a variety of players hitting the pocket, and you see a variety of players not hitting the pocket. So, yeah, it doesn't seem to be an advantage for any one particular style.
And that's the hard thing for tournament directors, is that balance between left and right. It's always been a subject of conversation. It's either too easy on the left, or the left can't compete with the right, and vice versa. And you know, when there's a nice little mixture of both left and right-handers, you know you've got a pattern that's very fair, and that's one thing Jeff always does a really good job with, is making sure that, hey, if you throw it well, no matter what hand or side you throw from, you have a chance to win.
Yeah, that and that's from a bowler standpoint. That's all you're asking for. Just, hey, let me make my, if I do what I'm supposed to do, I should be able to score. And Linda missed right there a little bit, but she's got something she can make there.
Yeah, a little quick.
Yeah.
Well, we know how to really snap off a string with the old announcement, don't we?
Yeah, we sure took them both down, didn't we? Let's see, Michelle Irwin here, she's got a little bit of a struggle going on, but she's on a double. Let's see if she can turn this game around here.
Oh,
that's
a nice little break there on the 7-pin. You know, that's the one thing about Michelle. Well, you just never count her out. She looks like she's struggling, and she might have a couple opens, and all of a sudden there's a 4-bagger.
Yeah, she's not afraid to strike, I can tell you that. I bowled league with Michelle many years ago on a Friday night, and she feels it. When she starts getting it going, yeah, she is not afraid to keep it going. Great player for a long time. Another Hall of Famer for the city of Indianapolis.
She competed in the Senior Masters a couple years ago.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
Matter of fact, I had to bowl her in match play portion of it, and it took everything I had just to get by her. And I knew when she came to my pair, I knew it was going to be a battle.
Well, she's the kind of player that she's not going to beat herself. You're going to have to beat her. Like you say, a couple opens this game, couple splits, and of course she comes right back with a 3-bagger to save the game. So she's got a 3-bagger going. Let's see if she can keep it going here.
All
Looks
right.
like she's made a ball change this game too.
Yeah, looks like more of a pearl maybe.
I think so too.
Obviously, the pearl going to give them a little more recovery down lane, a little more angle.
Probably
that one's
what
left
she's
the target.
For. Yeah, broke it up. That's a good break. That's a good 8.
All right, scores for game number 1 here in the B squad. Stephanie Stogsdill with a solid 255 start. Catherine Newman plus 45 with a 245. Same with Alexander Ross, 245. Chelsea Kiefer, 244. Buffy Clark, 243.
Nice.
Kayla Bird, 236. Kelly Mazzullo, 234. Brittany Cooper, 234. Dolores Bowerly, 232. So some good scores here at the start in B squad. Now, players of note: Teresa Smith, Dill, 213. Kimberly Woodall, a past champion and Hall of Famer, plus 9. Michelle Russell, 205. Erin Jones, a past champion, 205. Leanna Motel, plus 3. Monica Hall Mills, even after 1, past champion. Samantha New, who's bowling in front of us, she's got a 3-bagger right now. She shot 200 on the nose. And trying to look through Alexis Carter, a past champion, minus 10. Taylor Ellison, minus 12, who's bowling right in front of us. Shelby New, minus 15. So Shelby has some work to do because she's in that, she finished plus 5 in the A squad. So Shelby New right now on the outside looking in. So she's got some work to do. And now Samantha New here on lane 10. Should be on the far right side of your screen. 3-bagger working. And she comes in high again. I can break any string. And just happened to look to my left, and a young lady converts the 6-7-10 split in the 10th.
That's gonna
put her at least maybe a chance in the 170s. You never know when something like that could.
Yeah, I want to actually
could
have
get
the
you
first
some,
game.
Get some
Scott.
momentum going. She shot 185.
Okay, so she's going to have another 180, high 170, 180 game here.
So she's going to have a little work to do with these last 2 games. And boy, you know.
And Buffy has another good game here. Buffy. Yeah, Buffy Clark with a 240 start and then what, 214? So she's going to be 48 over. That gets her inside the cut number.
Absolutely.
Well inside the cut number. And actually, more importantly, that puts her ahead of Jacqueline Rhoda at plus 47. So that's a great start for her.
Absolutely. All right, game number 2 wrapping up here on some pairs. We do see some strings. As a matter of fact, I just happened to look at 11 and 12, and you see 9 miss, 9 spare, 9 spare, 9 spare, 9 spare, and then 4-bagger.
Nice.
So somebody made a great adjustment there. Well, it'd be interesting to know if that was a ball change after you leave 5 consecutive 9 counts and then throw a 4-bagger. Uh-oh, special delivery. Looks like lunch might be here. Boy, shake that one off, right?
Right.
You know, we don't get a whole lot of time to eat around here. And the food here at Championship Lanes, I will say, is incredible. They do a wonderful job. And we don't mind eating here at all. And we don't get to eat very much because we're busy doing this, right? So we'll be here until 8 o'clock. This will be our only meal of the day, essentially. You can't go wrong. You know, that's one thing I think, too, that bowlers don't get enough credit for. We bowl through through meals, right?
Yeah.
You bowl during lunchtime. You bowl during dinner. You eat at odd times.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, and that's a big part of it. You know, you try to plan ahead. You know, try to eat about a half an hour, maybe 40 minutes before we bowl, and always try to have some type of a snack during the block in case you do kind of start fading a little bit. Nothing worse than getting down there to game the last couple of games of a block and running out of energy.
Yeah. Or you get the shakes.
Yeah, that's the worst. That's the worst.
Yeah, never fun when you get to that point.
I usually get those when I get like 1 or 2 strikes in a row anyway, Scott. So I should be used to it.
Yeah, it's like 4-bagger. What's that?
Whoa.
What is that? And I always try to anymore put the old protein bar in my bag just in case.
So it's Kayla Bird over here with the all 9 spares except 1 9 miss and a 4-bagger. See if she can finish this one off.
Oh,
yeah,
great
that's
shot.
A big shot there.
She's bowled well here. She has a really good release.
Yeah.
A lot of rotation, and she's bowled here several times.
Yeah, she's up there with Jackson with that high rev rate.
Yes, absolutely. Totally agree with that one. Fun to watch when she gets going. Couldn't quite tell what she was throwing there for a second.
It looked like an uppercut, the Brunswick uppercut, from what I could tell.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was one of the melees or what. You know,
Yeah.
kind of. I saw the label on it a little bit, and I couldn't quite.
Dark gold label it looked like, and a black ball, pearl. Oh, what a big game there. So she's going to get out of there with 230. So
that is huge.
That's pretty awesome. She didn't have a strike until the 6th frame. So to turn that into 230 is huge, and with a spare miss too.
You know, here's an interesting thing. She can go back-to-back 236 games.
Yeah, that's huge. Once again, that puts her well inside that top 8 based on the first squad. So that's a great start for her too.
Well, you Purdue fans, not going to like to hear this update, but Illinois is going to defeat Wisconsin. They're up 10 with 30 seconds to go. Purdue could clinch a share of the Big Ten title with a win over Michigan State tonight, or had Illinois lost on the road to Wisconsin. So a little basketball update there for you. Now we'll move back to bowling.
Good shot there.
And there's some really good games here when you're watching some of these ladies bowl. Here's the one thing I feel like Reactive Reds has been great for the sport. It's given the ladies a little more power.
Oh, 100%.
I remember watching PWBA tournaments from back in the 80s, and the old urethane, sometimes they just couldn't get it to face up strong enough. And, of course, now the lane patterns were so much lighter volumes back then, shorter.
Yeah.
But this reactive resin has really given the ladies a little more power, and it's really fun to watch them perform at such a high level here at the Queens.
Yeah, I would agree. It's definitely helped the players who don't have a super high rev rate, and not that their rev rates are low by no means. Linda Burns has a good rev rate. Michelle Irwin has a pretty decent rev rate, but they've definitely taken advantage of the equipment improvements.
Well, 235 for Kayla Bird. That's going to put her at plus 71 after 2.
And Michelle saved a nice 201 game there with 2 opens, so that was. She bailed him out there in the 10th frame.
Yeah, and she's already in at plus 39, so she's trying to better that.
Yeah.
And also, we're watching Linda Burns try to convert a 10-pin here on lane 6 with a mark. She could still be in the 230s. And she just gets it. Also, Cindy Franklin with a spare open in the 6th, 7th. She had the front 5, and now she's doubled in the 8th and 9th, and she could punch out for 253. And that would put her, we'll have to see what she shot her first game.
Nice shot there.
Ooh.
Wrap 10, wrap 7. Good shot. Get out here with a nice 220 game. That would be put her in a good spot.
Don't see her on the sheet, so we don't know what she had her first game, but obviously was lower than 185. So a spare here that's going to put her in the 230s.
230, yeah.
So that's going to be a much needed 230 game. I'm sure she would have loved to have had that 250 game.
A big shot, first ball of 10th there.
Yeah, 210 there possible here on lanes 5 and 6. And 230 on the nose for Cindy Franklin.
Great game. Atkins.
Rachel Atkins here. She shot 820 her first block.
Okay.
Have to see where she's at after. I don't see her on the list here after first game, so she's looking to rebound here with a strike here and a strike in the 12th, a 210 finish. Oh, she comes in high at 8 count. That's going to put her in the high 190s. And we'll wait to see what the Hall of Famer Linda Burns does here in the 10th frame. She has a chance to shoot 233 with a strike in the 10th, 11th, and 12th. And I don't see her listed here on the first 2 pages for the B squad as well. Now, they're also mixed in with all those that finished. So we don't have just the B squad by itself. But again, I want to thank you for watching here, the Indiana Queens on Savage Bowling TV. Scott Gilmore, Mark Sullivan, and Chad Lester in the broadcast booth today. One-day event here for the Queens. Qualifying here will wrap up sometime around, I'm going to say 4:30 or so. Finals will take place right after they run the lanes again. And the top 16 will bowl single game double elimination until we get a winner. Now Linda Burns here, first shot on the left lane. Oh, she comes in and misses the head pin again. Bad count there on the spare, 6 count, the 1, 2, 4, 8. With a spare strike, she could be 219. And Michelle Russell, Ronnie Russell's wife, will be bowling on 3 and 4 in game number 3, as game number 2 wrapping up here for the ladies in B squad. And Linda's attempt at the spare. Oh, she misses it left. It's going to put her in the 2-0s. 207. All right, the ladies are going to move. We'll have scoring here in just a few minutes. You're watching the Indiana Queens on Savage Bowling TV. All right, game number 3 here for the ladies. Underway by halfway through the game here. I want to thank you guys for watching here on Savage Bowling TV. Indiana Queens from Championship Lanes in Anderson, Indiana. Great host here, Championship Lanes, and food is great as we just inhaled lunch.
Didn't stand a chance, did it?
Nope, not a chance. That's one thing. It's always great when you come to a center. You just know everything is good. And we love Championship Lanes hosting events here. And, of course, we've been here 3 times in the last 6 weeks. It's almost our second home for Chad and I. We'll be in Kokomo next weekend for Indiana All-State High School Bowling event. Heritage Lanes, the location there. Got some good scores. We're not going to jinx anything. We're not going to say anything in particular, but we have a good game going here on a pair.
Good job, Scott. Good job.
I didn't jinx him. I wasn't going to say anything.
We didn't either, did we?
Nope. No, we did not. We'll have scores updated here shortly once Jeff and his staff get him put in the system. They're great about getting us totals. Right now, we still feel fairly confident. Something in the mid-40s, 840s.
I don't know. The score looks like it might be creeping a little bit.
All right, we'll have to see.
They bowled really good the first game as a squad, it looked like. But still, you got to finish it off.
Yeah, and
You got to switch pairs.
Shayla Gwynn right in front of us. She really throws it good as Jenny Applewhite kind of didn't want to let go of it. I would have probably been face down in the oil. She was able to hold on. And Shayla gets 2 out of there, 94 in the 6. She started out with 209 her first game. Not sure where she's at for game number 2.
She's a good player.
Stephanie Stocksdill on 5 and 6. She had a really good game 1. We don't have her game 2 totals yet, but 255 start. Good shot there on lane 8. Right now, you guys are watching 5 and 6, and here's your first look at Stephanie here on the right lane, working on a spare.
She doesn't waste any time either. She just grabs and goes.
How many times, I'm just asking you a question here. If you've seen a lot of bowlers take a little bit of time on the approach, being very methodical, how the longer you take, isn't there a chance for some negative thoughts maybe to creep in there? I was one to grab my ball, get set. I knew the process, and I went. I didn't want anything creeping in there in my mind before a big shot or.
Yeah, I'm the exact same way. I know that the longer I stand there, the stiffer I'm going to get, the more chance I am, the more prone I am to be distracted. So if I just get it, I know already, what I'm trying to do here. Yeah, I don't like taking a lot of time.
Okay, we're going to switch our camera to 9 and 10 here. We'll be updating you scoring here on some pairs around us. We'll try to get an idea of where Michelle Russell is at.
Taylor Brevard with a nice shot there. And she's not going to need to hustle a little bit here to get out with 190. It looks like she's struggling a little bit this game.
Yeah, anytime you look at somebody's score and you see those red circles, never a good thing.
No. And she made the flip from the high end to the low end, so that's not uncommon to see a little struggle.
And Kimberly Woodall there with a strike, and now we got game 2 tallies here.
Yeah, Natalie with a nice start here. Nice second game.
Yeah, 267 really jumps up the ladder here. Chelsea Kiefer with 482, 244,
Wow.
238. Buffy Clark, you had made a comment, 234 game 2. She's plus 77. Kayla Bird there at plus 71. Stephanie Stockstill still hanging tough, but she's got a tough game going right here, but she's plus 55. She's got some work to do as she's got a couple of 3 open frames here in her first 5, so she's got some work to do. As you mentioned, Natalie Tackett really jumping up, 167, 267, plus 34. Aaron Jones plus 31. Teresa Smith, Dill plus 28.
Solid.
Kaylee Bragg plus 25 in this squad. Caitlin Sherritt plus 15. And going through here, Alexander Ross went 159 after a 245 game. That hurts. Jennifer Thompson, plus 2. She's got some work to do. And now we're going to go to 9 and 10 here with Brianna Gibbons here with the front 9. Of course, we talk about the announcer's jinx, but she is on a roll. Push, 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 but yeah, there we go.
Great shot.
Boy, she looks like, just
her turn again,
a little practice shot going on right here, right?
Yep.
Can we see some history here? I know Chad's going to get some video coverage. And now Brianna here, lane 9. Front 10.
Great shot.
Hook. Yeah, there we go.
Shot.
All right. Great to see her dad here, Corey, from Frankfort, Indiana. Known Corey for a long, long time, and he's been battling some cancer, and it's great to see Corey out and about, looking good, pulling for him. And here we go, Brianna Gibbons, front 11. Can she get 300? Oh, I like it.
She's got a chance.
There we go! Little history here at the Queens. Brianna Gibbons with a 300 game.
Finally.
What a game.
Scott, how long have we been doing this? Since like 2013, and we've never had a 300 on a live
First
stream.
one.
Awesome.
11 years. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Boy, that was exciting.
That was fun.
You love it when you don't jinx. The announcer jinx didn't even come into play. God, you got to like that.
Where's that going to move her to, Scott?
We got to look.
It's moving her up.
Well, we know she's going up.
She's going the right way.
But, boy, there was no doubt about that one in the 12th.
No, those were great shots.
I don't. Corey, her dad, just came up to me. A lot of emotion there. What a great moment. Her mom and dad are both here. And, boy, Mark, you just never take a 300 for granted. You just don't.
No, they don't hand them out, and there's so much adrenaline going through your body there that those last couple of shots, it's pretty hard to, kind of compose yourself and make a good quality shot. And she made 3 phenomenal shots there. Actually, I didn't see one shot there that whole game that looked iffy. They all were solid. I noticed her right off the bat. I noticed, wow, she throws it really good. And then sure enough, she just made 12 great shots.
And Chad probably knows more than I do or can remember better than I can. I know she bowled in college. I was thinking up in the Huntington. I don't know if she bowled for Huntington or if she bowled for Indiana Tech, somewhere in that.
She bowled for a couple different colleges, and I can't remember. Was it Lords? I can't remember.
It might have been.
The coach, Al Franklin?
Yeah, Al Franklin.
Was her coach at one school, and I don't remember the other school that she might have went to.
Yeah. Well, I would love to know. She's not in the first 2 pages. So here's the thing we do know is, because I'm looking through this, you know, when you start looking quickly, all the names run together. So minus 30 is in 66th place. So let's say she's 40 under. That's immediately going to go to 60 over.
Yeah.
You talk. No matter what, she's jumping right into contention.
100%. Yeah, I mean, she's probably got to shoot no more than 180.
Hey, let's see. We're gonna grab her over in here to the booth. We'll turn this microphone up a little bit. Hey, we're gonna talk to Brianna. Walk us through the moment, the 10th frame. How were you feeling? The nerve? You look like cool as a cucumber.
Well, that was actually my first one, so I was very nervous. But I got up in the 10th frame, and I was like, I've struggled these last 2 games. Just make a good shot. Just make a good shot. That's what I kept telling myself. And, well, they all fell in my favor, so.
Well, I would never notice that was the first one because the 12th frame looked like the first frame, right?
Yeah, it did.
So,
and the good news is you didn't get a fine for taking too long because you are the speed bowler that I've seen here.
Thank you. Everybody says that.
Good
so,
job.
Couple of questions here real quick, and then I know you got to get to your next game. Your dad here, how cool is that?
It was amazing. He's had a rough couple of years, so this was amazing for him to be able to see it. Yeah. I did it for him.
Good for you. It was a quality game. I told Scott, I noticed that when you had the first 3 there, I'm like, wow, this, because I hadn't seen you bowl before. I commented on how good you roll the ball, and just an incredible game. Every shot was quality. So.
Thank you.
So now the next question is, what was your score going into that game? Where were you at?
Shot 126, 168.
Ooh, so you got some work. But hey, that puts you right back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that puts you right back into contention. So now you got work to do.
For sure.
The first thing you got to do is kind of calm the nerves,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Well, congratulations. How cool is that? First one, and right here
Yep.
at the Queens and in front of your parents. I know that had to be a special
Yes,
treat.
it was. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, good luck game 4. Let's see if you can't make that top
Good job.
16.
Keep it up. Congratulations.
How cool is that, Mark?
Man, what a game. Gosh, and to find out that was her first one, like you say, Scott, she looked like she had been there many times before. She did not have that look of nervousness.
Boy, and to struggle, like her first game, she said she shot 120 something. You would never tell that. The 10th frame was absolutely steady as a rock.
Yeah, I mean, every shot was quality, and that's 12 solid shots. It's hard for me to imagine that she wasn't 25, 30, 50 over for that matter. So.
But here's the thing, regardless if she makes the cut or not, to have a moment that will last a lifetime.
Yeah, she's never going to forget that game. Yeah, with her parents back here watching, yeah, you could tell she was very emotional about it. But she kept it together great right up until the point we kind of put her on the spot there.
Well, and
good.
I didn't know that was her first one because I would assume she's been a really talented player her whole life. And bowled for Ancilia College. There, Al Franklin, right, Chad?
Yes, and they won a national championship too.
Oh,
They're
wow.
NAIA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they compete with Marion and boy.
And Lords was the other school.
Yeah.
Okay, that she went to. Yeah.
Yep.
And
Coach Al was coach
Al
of both those.
Franklin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how cool is that? I mean, what a moment.
Yeah.
And here's the wonderful thing. We have it on the live stream.
Yep.
And that's going to last forever.
Yeah.
And if she can go back and clip that moment in her lifetime and catch that, what a cool moment for us and for her. And history made for our live stream. That was the first 300 we ever had the chance to broadcast, and couldn't have been more a special moment because, as she had mentioned about her dad going through some struggles, battling cancer, and Corey just a tremendous human being and known the family for years, and have them here watching her and do something that special, just an incredible moment here at the Queens.
Yeah, that's why you show up and put yourself out there and compete, because you just never know when it's going to be your time to shine. And so hopefully she uses that as a springboard to get her into this round of 16 here.
And too, the cool thing about it is this is a sanctioned event.
Yeah,
She
true
gets
too.
a little award for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, definitely something she'll never forget.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so glad that we could be right here and happen on the championship pair. Could she springboard that into another good game in the 4th game of her qualifying block and get herself into the top 16? We'll find out here shortly as all the players are moving to another pair. But what a cool moment.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And Aaron Jones strikes out in the 10th for a 2:03.
That's a big finish for her, too. Aaron plugged away that game. That's a clean game, Scott. That's what we were talking about. You keep yourself in the game, and then she strikes out in the 10th to turn a 180, 170 game into a 2:03.
All right, I'm going to ask Chad here a question because he knows all the details.
Sometimes.
Now, there's a couple of cookies here in front of us. One of the bowlers here.
Yeah.
We want to give a shout out. She dropped some stuff off in front of us, and I know you've already had one, Chad. We haven't had a chance yet to grab a hold of one of these, but one of the ladies that is bowling today, she owns a cookie company. And Chad, you want to give a little more information on that?
Yeah, as you know, I won't ever turn down a cookie.
Yeah,
and so
that's
the one
right.
I had was a s'mores cookie, so I had the marshmallow and the chocolate.
We didn't get a chance
But
to pick.
You didn't even have a chance.
It happens all the time,
I had
Mark.
no clue what you guys would
It happens all the time.
But the bottom of the cookie had a graham cracker on it.
Oh, my gosh.
So it was very good. But anyways, it's a stacked cookie in Greenwood.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so Chad will put that on the chat. So if you want to check out, he'll post a little thing, the name of the company. And thank you for dropping off the cookies here in the broadcast booth. And we'll put a little note in the chat so you guys can check that out. If you're ever in that part of the state, you want to. These 2 cookies in front of us look really good. Now
Yeah.
I have a. Here's my thing. And I have no idea what these are, but it looks like there's a lot of stuff in them.
Yeah,
I'm just not a guy. I'm not a big fan of nuts in my cookies or brownies. So I don't know if it's got anything like that in it. But yes, stacked cookie in Greenwood. Yeah.
Well,
there you go.
my rule is
Mark knows who it is.
if I say no to food, it's because I've misunderstood the question.
You never look like you're thin as a rail. Man, what's
Well,
your secret?
I think I inherited a metabolism from my parents. They were both on the lean side, and my wife says I'm like a hummingbird. My metabolism's always on overdrive.
Oh, my goodness. But anyway, thanks for dropping those off. We wanted to give you a little bit of a shout out there. Hey, you never hesitate to, when someone drops something like that off in front of you, you gotta follow through because they look delicious. And
Yeah.
at some point, we'll be able to partake and we'll keep Chad away from them. But here's
Impossible. Well, Angie's not here today to bring us their cookies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
this worked out pretty good.
Yeah, they always have fresh baked chocolate chip cookies here, and we always give Angie a hard time. Don't ever forget the broadcast booth.
Yeah.
Bring us something here, and
You'll get a plug.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheap plug, right?
Right.
She had better things to do. She had a brand new grandbaby.
Yeah.
A leap year grandbaby.
Yeah.
So-
I want to congratulate Brady Collop and his wife, Angie's son, for the arrival of their child on February 29th. And Grandma is with her son and her grandbaby. And congratulations to the Collop family for the addition. And happy for you and hope everyone's healthy. And congratulations.
And she deserves some time off.
Yeah, Angie.
She's been busy.
Yeah, no doubt. And she does such a great job. I mean, she is involved in every aspect of the tournament that goes on here, not to mention the day-to-day responsibilities that don't stop just because there's a PBA event in here.
Yeah.
Well, let's just think about what they've hosted in 6 weeks.
Oh, my
They
gosh.
hosted the Indiana State Masters. Then they had a little time off, right?
I think they had an event that next week. I don't remember what it was.
Well,
but it was large. It
Jeff
wasn't a
ran
tournament.
his
the Super Bowl doubles.
Super Bowl doubles on Sunday. Then they hosted the Indiana State High School Bowling Finals. And then they hosted the Indiana Classic PBA event. And now they're hosting the Queens. all these events in a 6-week span.
Like they literally had no break. We were loading out after high school as the PBA was loading in. Their program was that night.
Yeah, that's
and
incredible.
So they just went from one thing to another, and they did a beautiful job.
And we have Natalie.
So much work, all for the good of bowling, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Natalie Tackett here right in front of us.
Starting off. A good start.
Oh, that's right.
Tuck that.
Fortunate to leave just the 4-7. Now let's keep this in mind. Natalie just had a baby not that long ago, and she hasn't bowled hardly at all. And to come out here and compete, that just shows you her natural ability and how naturally gifted she is at the sport of bowling.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, you just wonder how much information is shared between her and EJ. You know, I mean, did they talk about this before? You know, hey, okay, honey, play this. You know, do this, do that. You just wonder how much of that goes on. But yeah, you're right. She gets here on her own skills, that's for sure.
Yeah, and
she's a talented player.
Of course, she got a babysitter today. No baby here today, so she didn't have to worry about that. As we get her to smile a little bit over here, while Dad's off, you know, bowling on TV every week.
Yeah. He is having another unbelievable season.
Well, Chad and I were talking on the way over here to Anderson yesterday. You know, when you have an hour and a half car ride, you have, you know, a lot of conversations can be had. But imagine a great debate if EJ had only won twice.
Yeah.
Would he have, look at Anthony Simonson's season, where he made, I can't remember how many TV shows. He finished top 10 in every event.
Just unheard of.
Would that have been a possibility for Anthony Simonson to win Player of the Year without a win had EJ only won once or twice?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Holman win one year without winning?
Yes.
Yeah. He beat Pete Weber out that year, I think. And that was controversial, too, at the time. So, I mean, you know, do you count the titles more than you count the points and the cashes? Yeah, it's an age-old debate, right?
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation.
It is. It is. I mean, you can see both sides of the argument, too.
Well, and really, to be honest, EJ put it to bed by winning 5 times.
Oh, 100%.
I mean,
right.
2 majors, 5 times.
Yeah.
That pretty much is going to wrap up that conversation.
Sure.
But had he only won twice,
then who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine having a whole season where your worst finish was 10th? Never outside of the top 10. That's incredible. And you talked about earlier how hard it is to win. I mean, you know, EJ's made, 5 shows now in a row? Is that right?
Yeah, this will be his 5th show in a row.
Yeah, without a win.
Without a win so far. Now, can he do it tomorrow? Absolutely.
From a higher seed, right? I mean, a lower seed, rather. So
yeah,
now
he's the 5th seed. That match was real. I love the format. I know you guys do it on the senior tour. From a viewing standpoint, I love the best of 7 format.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you get those games where it's just total pins, those fields are so separated over the course of 36 games,
typically
right?
They are.
There was so much drama last night because the highest seed that doesn't win gets in. So you had a scenario where Dom Barrett, David Kroll, and EJ Tackett were all vying. You know, EJ was pretty well locked in. He was bowling for the 1 seed, which was worth a lot.
Yeah, it was.
Not only money, but you win 1 match and you're the champion.
Right.
You take that any day of the week.
Any day of the week, right.
And, you know, if Dom Barrett beats Bill O'Neill, David Kroll was locked into the show. But then Bill O'Neill defeats Don Barrett. So if EJ would have beat David Kroll, then Don Barrett is automatically in. So there were just so many scenarios that the best of 7 delivers that I think if the PBA really sat back and looked at it, match play is great for some events, but I really feel like I prefer to see the best of 7 every round until you get to the TV show.
Well, I can tell you I do, because I think it does just what you said. It creates the opportunity for way more drama, because you're right. Top 24 match play, 30-pin bonus pins. It's not uncommon to see the top 8 guys completely separate themselves from the bottom 16. So. And
the knock on top 24 head-to-head match play, you could get a guy, let's say, is in second place, and his 8 games are against the bottom 24th, 23rd, 22nd, 20.
Yep.
And none of those guys, they're 500 pins out.
Yeah,
they're determining whether or not this 2 seed gets into the show, but also the money is so tight when you get down into those lower parts of the top 24. There might only be $50 separating, $100 separating place, right?
Yeah. Yep. Typically that's the case.
Yeah. So those guys at the bottom, I guess the point I'm making, aren't bowling for anything at that point in time, really.
Not really. I mean, Chris Barnes had told me years ago that he learned how to bowl by making the top 24. So, you know, if he qualified 18th and first round of match play he dropped to 21st, those next 16 games, those 2 8-game blocks are really, it's kind of just an opportunity for him to try balls, to try lane play. I mean, obviously he's trying to score, but he's learning how to bowl as well.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
A little different.
That's why I just like the best of 7, because anybody has a chance. And with this top 8 and the highest seed after qualifying that doesn't make it to that doesn't win their match in the round of 8 gets on the show, there's just so many scenarios that can bring into play.
Yeah.
And I think from a compelling viewership standpoint, it's more interesting.
Oh, I think that too. I mean, I love those formats where it is the best match one-on-one round of 7 or best of 7.
And the PBA does that. 50 does that every week, correct?
No, we mix it up too. We have some other events too, some top 24s and some other stuff. But
usually it's the majors that are more top 24.
Usually it's the majors, right. But otherwise, we do that a lot where it's best of 7 matches.
And obviously, if you're one of the top so many qualifiers, you get that. Is it a double bye or a bye?
You get a bye. You just get one bye, I believe. But the other thing too is, so if you qualified as the top guy, you only have to win 1 match to guarantee your place on the show. So if you get beat in the round of 8 and you were the top qualifier, you're seated on the show. Just much like how EJ got on this week. He was a top guy, so he got on by default.
And as you know, you've bowled quite well on the 50 tour. Haven't really broke through for that TV show or whatever.
Yep.
It's just so hard.
Yeah, man. I mean,
the guys are so good.
They are so good. And speaking of that format that we're just talking about, the best of 7, well, we were bowling the best of 3-game total pinfall. And I had Brad Angelo down 35 pins a couple years ago, and, you know, he throws the back 10 the last game to beat me by 20 pins to get on the show or something. So, you know, yeah, I mean, I had him beat and out of nowhere to the back 10 and beats me by 20 to 30 pins, whatever it was. But, yeah. It's just hard to win. You said it best. It's just so many things have to go your way, and you have to bowl great and
well, let's face it. You could bowl great, get 0 breaks, and you're out.
You're done. Yep.
Right?
You're done. That's right.
So there's so many elements to the game of bowling, and it is a game of inches.
It really is. I mean, how many times did I think Earl did Earl not have more seconds than first?
Yes.
Yeah.
More seconds than first.
And Walter's pretty close to that, I think. So.
Well, how many has Earl Anthony's won, what, 30, 40 times?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Think about that.
41 titles, I believe. 41 titles and, 45 seconds or something like that.
So Mike Albee called me one night, this past week and was telling me that he wasn't going to be able to attend the All-State high school event next week because he was going to be bowling in this PBA the PBA's All-Star break in the Legends part of things. And I was giving him a hard time about how you got to practice. And I said, you know, funny thing, you called me. I was killing some time and towards the end of the day, and I said, I watched you bowl Ryan Schaefer for a PBA title, and he knew exactly which one. He goes, 2000 Las Vegas Open. And he goes, I don't watch that one because he didn't win. He goes, I don't talk about that one.
Yeah. Well, there's not many that he didn't win. He was a guy that was a killer on TV, like Tommy Jones. And
oh, yeah. I always give him a hard time because he had one where he shot 300, and he does this spin-a-rooney on his back after he threw it.
Yeah.
And I asked him, Mike, can we reenact that today? And he's, no chance.
Yeah, that was awesome for a guy that wasn't. He didn't typically show a lot of emotion, but he sure let it all go that day, and rightfully so.
Yeah, Mike, just a tremendous human being, and we're so lucky to have him in our broadcast, and actually we're just lucky to have him be an ambassador of the game of bowling in the state of Indiana.
Yeah, I agree, and I was lucky enough. I feel real fortunate to have kind of grown up. Mike's about 4 or 5 years older than me. Him and my brother, closest to me in age, kind of ran around a little bit together in high school, and so I got to see a lot of what Mike did up close, and it was just, I mean, that's the bar. That's where you need to be.
A lot of people don't realize just how good he was and set the all-time yearly earnings record there back in I believe in the mid-'80s, late 80s.
Yep.
The only thing I really feel bad for the top talented players on tour now is they don't have the same amenities that players like Mike and those guys did in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s, where you get a bowl 36 times a year.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at how good players like Jason Belmonte, Kyle Troop, E.J. Tackett, and these guys, how many titles could they have?
Well, that's a great question, because they don't bowl as many, they don't get as many opportunities, but they're probably not quite as physically beat up as if you bowled 32 weeks a year and you traveled all over the country. I mean, that definitely takes a toll. That's a grind on you physically and mentally. But the other part about it is, too, if I bowl 32 weeks in a year on tour, how sharp am I? I am sharp. And a lot of those guys just became so much better. People would always say, I've never seen Pete Weber practice. I said, yes, he doesn't have to, because he bowls 100 games every week. He makes match play every single week, and more than likely was making the show. So, I mean, he was getting in, counting the practice. He's getting in right around 100 games a week. So his touch, his control, his eye, it was all in such great shape. And that's why those guys are still as good as they are today. That's all they ever did was bowl, and they bowled at the highest level.
Yeah, the timing that you can maintain.
Mm-hmm.
The sport is so much about timing and rhythm.
Yep, right.
And the element of that you can maintain is so big for a bowler.
Yeah, and you can practice, Scott. I can practice 100 games a week. I can't now physically, but back in the day, you can bowl 100 games a week, because I was doing that at the time. And then I'd go out and I bowl on tour, and say if I made the top 24, you bowled 48 games, say 60. So I bowled 40 games less that week than I did when I'm at home and practicing, and it felt like I had been run over by a bus. My body was just so sore, your hands so sore, because you're putting everything into every single shot you throw. So
that's one thing that I don't think people realize. There's always been a knock. Are bowlers athletes?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what. I'll ask you to bowl 8 qualifying games a day over the stretch of 3 days, with the 20 minutes of practice before the squad starts and the practice that you have leading up, and you tell me how you feel, how your legs feel when you're done.
Yeah.
because if you aren't used to it,
Oh,
I'm telling you, your hamstring and sliding leg will be on fire.
yeah. It's funny, people will say, let's say I've been on a 3-week stretch of bowling on the PBA 50 Tour. And let's say I went to 3 different towns. Well, what did you guys do? Practiced, and then we drilled a couple of balls, and then we ate dinner, and we went to bed. And the next day, we bowled our 8-game qualifier, 7-game qualifier, whatever it is, and then we worked out, and then we ate dinner, and we went to bed and got up and did it the next day. So, you better be paying attention to what's going on when you're out there, because the guys that are winning, that's exactly what they're doing.
All right, I want to thank you again for watching the Indiana Queens here on Savage Bowling TV, the official voice of the Indiana State USBC events. I want to thank our sponsors, the Brands of Brunswick, for the latest releases and product information. Like them on Facebook at Brunswick Bowling, or go to brunswickbowling.com. Big Four Socks. Find your pair at a pro shop near you or at big4socks.com. And Mike Alby's Arrowhead Bowl. Bowling, games, billiards, birthday parties, corporate events, and more. What are you waiting for? Arrowheadbowl.com.
Well, she's kind of out of our view, but I was kind of wondering how Brianna was doing this game.
Well, we don't have scores after game 3 yet.
Yeah.
And the girls are wrapping up game number 4. So we don't know where she would fall into the scoring. But, yes, I would love to know. And I did happen to look over to my right, and kind of a shocking development here is Shelby New really struggling.
Yeah, that is definitely not normal for her.
98 in the 8th frame this game.
Yeah.
And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 opens.
Yeah.
Ooh.
She's always so consistent. That's really, and she bowls good on the hard stuff. She bowls good on the softer stuff too. So she's just a great bowler.
This is her center. This is where
Right.
she bowls at.
Right.
And what's amazing is she's really bowled good every year. But sometimes you have it. I always say some days it's my day and some days it's not. And as competitive she is, I'm sure it's tough because she doesn't like to lose.
No, and she expects to bowl well. That's one of her qualities. Is she is mentally strong. She believes in her abilities, and she expects to bowl well.
I have a few strings I see here on a few of the pairs. Ronnie Russell over to our left, coaching up Natalie. So Michelle must not be bowling very well. Either that or she kicked him out.
Yeah.
So update on Brianna. I don't know what she just rolled down there, but she could strike out for 191, but I don't think she struck that.
I think that's going to make her short based on the information she gave us. I didn't see scores either.
Yeah, she didn't strike, so she can spare strike for 181.
Well, and that's the cool thing, too, for her. She's not going to make the cut, but she had a moment that will last her a lifetime here in game number 3.
And that's got to be that's got to be tough coming off of all the emotions she was having there with sharing that with her dad and then our little talk with her. It sure brought out some more.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is we all know when you haven't had a 300 in a while, even though you'd love to have it, it was really bad to have it game 1 out of the gate.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard to gather. I don't care how many times you've had it, you still have an adrenaline rush. And because if you don't, then I'm not sure why you're bowling anymore if you don't get the butterflies in your mind and in your body.
Yeah, I still get it to this day. And sometimes it helps you and sometimes it hurts you. But you certainly know that you're doing what you want to do when you feel those things. You're like, okay, this is a good thing. You're alive for sure.
Oh, Hunter Sullivan's going to have a really good game.
Saw that.
She's going to have 2 247 with the strike here on lane 9. Championship pair's got some scoring on
I'm
it.
telling you, no relation to me either.
Solid 247. Ooh, hey, ask and you shall receive.
Oh, here we go.
Man, game number 3 scoring. Okay, Chelsea Kiefer, 104. Off to a great start.
Nice.
222 her third game. Kayla Bird
Solid.
grinded out a 203. She's plus 74. Natalie Tackett, boy, she was right in this
I
mark.
know, man.
Plus 46.
She was-
She's got 201 out there, though, if she does strike out.
She's going to need that. She's going to need to go out all the way. The big part about that is, too, that ties her with Jackie Rhoda.
Yeah, and then Buffy Clark with that tough 165 game.
man.
She's plus 42. Carly Larson plus 40. Michelle Irwin plus 39. Erin Jones plus 34. Catherine Newman plus 33. And Kaylee Bragg is plus 29. She is in 16th place right now. So that scoring could come down.
It could. I could have been off because I was really thinking it was going to be above 39. And Michelle's in at 39 at this point, and that's from her first squad.
Yeah, that's from her first squad.
Yeah.
Stephanie Stogsdill, after that 250 start at plus 19, she's got some work to do her game,
Yeah, she
her
does.
last game. And so, yeah, Teresa Smith-Dill plus 9. She's got some work to do. Of course, Shelby New right there plus 5 and really struggling this game. So that's going to be her high score. So she's going to miss out here on the finals, I believe, for the first time since we've moved it here to Championship Lane. So unusual to have Shelby out, but that's what it looks like right now, as she really struggling in this third game, and she just wrapped up, struck out in the 9th and 10th frame for a 158 score. And as we move on down the line, Brianna Long, who shot 300. I called her Brianna Gibbons. I forgot she got married. So Brianna Long. Funny thing, I was going to give her a hard time, too, because her back of her shirt said Gibbons.
Yeah, okay.
We're going to have to tell her to get some new jerseys, right? I'm sure Dad can foot the bill for that. But, yeah, Brianna Long there really struggled game 1, but with the historic 300 game here.
Yep.
Boy, if she could have had anything game 4, it would have been an unbelievable comeback.
I mean, she would have been in it with a 180 game. She is well inside the cut.
Yeah, because we're looking at still
pins,
right
so
now plus 29. She was only 36 pins out. You
Yeah.
shoot a 240 game, and you got a good chance to maybe sneak in. So
See if Natalie can bowl her way into this thing.
off to the left side of your screen here.
That looks like a pretty good shot.
Oh, and it was.
Yeah, she flushed that one.
She doesn't really have a lot of pins to play with. If she can get to she gets the first one in the 10th and not the second one, that would put her in the 180s. So she really needs the first 2 mark here in the 10th frame. As we're looking at A squad scores and B squad here combined.
Yeah.
So plus 29. I was trying to look to see what it was after game 2. It was plus 28, so it really didn't go anywhere. So let's say it goes down 1, plus 28. Natalie has 18 pins to play with from that standpoint.
She's still going to need the first hit in the 10th,
Yeah,
no matter what.
she has to have the first hit in the 10th.
I'd say Kayla Bird solid. Obviously, she's out of our view, but
She would have to really fall off the face of the
Yeah.
map here. And she throws it way too good for that, in my opinion. Got a couple of strings here on 7 and 8. 3-bagger in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. And now Natalie Tackett here on lane 7. Really in a must-strike situation right here. And I noticed she's going to the ball that EJ's made a lot of money with, the Venom Shock. It needs
Got
to
a
hook a
chance.
little bit. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe it.
Got to be kidding me.
You have got to be kidding. A stone 10.
Got to be kidding me.
She needs to make the spare now and fill all 10 in the 10th. That would have locked her in.
Yeah, plus 26. She's going to need help now to get in. Some
Well,
numbers above her could fall back, though.
Correct. And the nice thing is there's a pretty big gap. Not a big gap, 5 pins, but you could put 4 bowlers in 5 pins, right?
Yeah.
So she needs to make the spare, but what a horrific
horrible break. Because that gets her in. That pretty much locks her in. Now she's going to need a little help.
Well, she had to come back and get a little rosin, but internally you're ready to break something.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Take a little breather there. Take a timeout. Give yourself a little pat on the back for making a great shot.
Oh, and what else? That's all you can do.
That's it, man. That is all you can do is say, hey, I did everything I could do.
What you don't know and what you're afraid of as a player here is these bowlers down here in the plus teens.
Yep.
If they have a 220 game, they're going to go right around her, whereas if she gets that first hit in the 10th, they would need 230 or 40, a little bit harder.
Well, she did everything she could do.
Unbelievable.
That's everything she could do. 3, 4, 5, 6.
What a great shot, and to get absolutely.
Great shot. Great shot.
She still has a chance.
Yeah.
Plus 26. I'm not saying is out of it by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
However, 10 more pins would be. I mean,
Well,
just think about that. We're talking about, Mike and I talk about it all the time, Mark. It's that fill shot in the 10th. Do you get 7 count instead of 9 or 10? And you do that 3 or 4 times, and then all of a sudden there's 6 to 9 pins.
Yep.
And how many times? And how many times you bowl where you missed the cut by 4, or you miss cashing by 2 or 3, and you could go back every game and find that moment where you just.
Yeah.
Whether it's a lack of concentration or whatever it may be.
Yeah, you grabbed a different ball on the fill ball and you got 6 instead of 9. Oh, yeah, it's heartbreaking for sure. But like I said, I still think she's got a pretty good chance to make it because I do believe the score stayed the same. The cut score stayed the same, so she actually falls out of the cut score by 2 if it stays the same. By 3.
Yeah, 3 pins right now.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
There's
there's 5 people that were ahead of her, and then you have to go down 3 spots to catch a live number again.
Well, and you're really, in all reality, Kayla Bird was almost 30 pins ahead of her.
Yeah, I don't see her coming back.
You're thinking about the 2, 3, 4 players that are right below her. As you mentioned, Michelle Irwin's already locked in because not locked into the cut, but locked in because she's not. That was her squad.
It's a dead number
from the a dead number from the first squad. So, and then you have Aaron Jones, Catherine Newman, and Kaylee Bragg. How are they bowling? Because they still have to post that game 4 score.
8. And wouldn't it be interesting if we got 8 players off the first squad, 8 players off the second squad? Because right now that's looking like that's a high probability of that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, and you're always talking about squad equity at that point. Boy, that is squad equity.
Yeah, hard to get it any better than that.
Well, and your top 2 scores potentially could come off the A and the B squad.
Correct. Again, perfect job with the lane maintenance and the pattern.
All right, bowling has wrapped up here in right around us. We're going to take a short timeout. We'll come back, though, and give you the announcements of the top 16 here from the Indiana Queens. You're watching exclusively here on Savage Bowling TV.
bowling a record turnout of 160 entries, which I think is a pretty good thing for all of you. Secondly, I want to have a congratulations to Brianna Long, who had her first ever 300 game during Game 3 of the tournament. Okay, here's our results. Unofficial, we're still doing some checks. If you hear something that you don't think is correct, please let us know. Leader for the day, Lisa Seifert, plus 129. Second, Jenny Ferguson, plus 101. Third, Chelsea Kiefer, plus 98. Fourth, Kayla Bird, plus 87. Fifth, Brittany Kinney, plus 83. Sixth, Candace O'Neill, plus 62. Seventh, Faith Hall, plus 61. Eighth, Annalise Sisk, plus 50. Ninth, Jacqueline Rhoda, plus 47. 10th, Michelle Irwin, plus 39. 11th, Kaylee Bragg, plus 30. 12th, Natalie Tackett, plus 26. 13th, Olivia Poor, plus 23. 14th, Rachel Atkins, plus 20. 15th, Buffy Clark, plus 19. 16th, in the final spot into match play, Aaron Jones, plus 16.
Oh my God, it went down 20.
17th through 32nd will cash. We can have those checks ready in probably a half an hour.
Well, then Teresa
Those
did not.
are Catherine Newman,
Teresa
plus
didn't get
14.
in.
Teresa
Wow,
Smith-Dill, plus 13. Jada Mockabee and Carlo, plus 12. Shelby New, plus 5. Caitlin Sherratt, plus 2. Samantha New, plus 0. Hunter Sullivan, minus 1. Liana Motel, minus 3. Ashley Jackson, minus 4. Alexis Carter, minus 5. Brittany Cooper, minus 5. Kayla Crawford, minus 6. Taylor Bavard, minus 8. Ebony Smith, minus 8. Sydney Franklin, minus 8. And the last spot is Carly Larson at minus 9. Those are the results we...
All right, Jeff Circle announcing the top 16 here at the Indiana Queens. And wow, some drama there. The cut score really dropping all the way down to plus 16. We were wondering what was going to happen with Natalie Tackett after she left the stone 10-pin right here in front of us on lane 7 in the first ball in the 10th. That dropped her to plus 26. She was plus 46, but that didn't matter. So what we thought was going to happen, where we thought maybe in the 40s would be in play, was not the case. Aaron Jones, your past champion, I believe, Chad, from 2 years ago, right? 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
I believe so.
Gets in the last spot. She shot 182 her final game to sneak into the cut, or I should say stay in, because she was plus 34 going into that, just to kind of hold on for dear life, right, at plus 16. And Teresa Smith-Dill, a past champion here, also had was plus 4 or plus 13. She shot 204 her last game, and she misses out. Shelby New territory for Shelby. She doesn't make the number this year. First time in her career that I'm aware of since coming here to Anderson. Doesn't make the top 16 for match play at plus 5. And her sister Samantha New shoots 225 her last game to get in to the cash spot at even par 0. So top 32 will cash. Carly Larson, the final cash number at minus 9. And so a lot of drama here. Lanes are being oiled. We'll be back on the air. I don't know if we can guess 5 o'clock, 5:15.
Yeah, I'd say between 5:15 and 5:30, actually.
Yeah. They are on lane 19 right now, oiling, so we got to come all the way down to lane 1.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be closer to 5:30, I bet.
And one thing that they do here that I think is really cool is they kind of let the oil sit for a few minutes to let it settle into the lanes. And so we're going to have a little bit of time from that standpoint as well. But top 16 match play coming up here on Savage Bowling TV. It should be exciting. Our top seed, our number 1 seed, Lisa Seyfarth with plus 129. We'll be back here on Savage Bowling TV for the top 16 single game double elimination match play here on Savage Bowling TV.